Good night. Welcome to Sleep Well. I wish you are fine. We listen and we get sleep well. Our story begins tonight.
Damash of 3 was on his knees, his forehead resting on his arm, pressed against the green crystal prison where he resided for the last 14 years. His arm stopped some of the sweat dripping down his face. He was exhausted and recovering from the anxiety of the events beyond his prison, dying to interfere, but happy with the present results. Damash was part of a hunting and rescue party 15 years earlier when they were discovered for some odd reason. The protection they usually enjoyed failed. Of the 15 hunters, he was shot by the locals who did not take the time to understand what they saw. As with most encounters with human hunters, it was shoot first and worry about the wrong later, if ever. He remembered bitterly the others departing, hastening to summon the portal, his country's only entrance and exit to Jade. They must have considered him dead, and he groaned as he watched the portal blink out of sight in the sky. Around him, the humans who had discovered them were hastily searching for Damash of 3, following the trail of blood. The beams of their flashlights passed through him, and he groaned again as he realized that the pain had snapped him into the zone of nothingness between the earth and Jade. They walked through him and found nothing except the blood spots in the soil. He moved aside and watched them for a while as he looked to the west, hoping to find the portal reappear in the sky. In a way, he considered himself lucky. He would not die from the wounds he sustained, but the bad part was he could not enter the Earth's atmosphere, and he could not return to Jade. Jade was a dimensional glitch, a world that had popped into existence from an experiment in science and remained for nearly 4,000 years. It rested in the Swiss Alps, totally unknown or detected by the Earth's residents. Jade, however, was very knowledgeable of Earth, its climate, and its species. Jade residents were very human in appearance, but their mental capabilities far surpassed that of humans. They had mastered dimensional travel, and in one final experiment, a vast section of their world disappeared and became attached to Earth in the Swiss Alps. The situation resolved to be beneficial for Jade. The absence of female births resulted in Jade nearing extinction level. But with the advent of the portal and their secluded spot on the globe, they soon discovered that mating with Earth's females was possible and very sustaining for their species. Asterisk. Damash stood and stretched. He wiped the sweat from his face and pressed his forehead against the crystal wall again to view Amanda. Yes, it's still there. This is good, Damash. We might make it this time, he said. He was not a full Jade bear, the final phase of Jade male development, but since his confinement to the netherworld, he had made some progress in that direction without using the paraclips. He could touch the Jade lines that were abundant in the world, unseen by humans. He knew much of it was driven by the love for the woman lying on the bed before him. The other factor was his determination not to remain an accidental prisoner forever. After he recovered from the shock of being left for dead, Damash of 3 wandered around the earth for a long time. He constantly looked for the portal signal threads in the barrier around him, but they remained elusive. He finally concluded that the council must have decided to close the portal. He could understand that the mishaps and accidents were becoming more frequent. That was the price of an increasing human population and decreasing wildlife territories. His wanderings took him to South Africa, where he found a replica of a jade bear in a tent bazaar in Johannesburg. The likeness was so astonishing that he realized the sculptor must have had the opportunity to observe one at length. It was exquisitely beautiful, jade-colored crystal with a hair in fine detail. Silver fangs jutted downward from the open mouth. Even in the dimness of the tent, it stood out, begging for attention. Damash bided his time in the area, and one day, a trader named Randolph Watson came to the bazaar, and the owner of the Jade Bear launched into a long and pleading diatribe about the magical quality of the Jade Bear. Damash chuckled at the lies, but they had a good effect on Randolph. He purchased the bear, and Damash made his decision. He sought and found the transferring threads and launched himself into the Jade Bear before Randolph dropped it into a velvet sack provided by the owner. So, Damash of 3 eventually made his way to America and was given to Amanda Blake. Amanda kept him on her dresser and wished on him many times until nothing happened, and she stopped. But she would not hear of his departure, destruction, sale, or anything else that would separate them. Uncle Randolph said he was magical, and she promised that she would always believe, and she did. Amanda was married 5 years later, and it was a delighted marriage. It even made Damash's head spin inside the Jade Bear. He was torn between fits of jealousy and happiness as the groom, Joseph Matkins, began to love his bride. Life was a garden of roses and joy until the accident. The light turned green, and the pedestrian light switched to walk. Amanda stepped into the street, well inside the crosswalk lines and ahead of the other people. She heard the squeal of tires before she had a chance to stop or even think. She never had the opportunity to turn her head before the car hit her at 65 miles per hour, and she flew through the air like a rag doll to land on the ground 75 feet behind the vehicle. She was lucky for what it was worth. Her life hung on by a thread for several minutes. She was declared dead on the scene, and then she reacted. In the hospital, she was declared dead 6 times more. She remembered each one and the growing frustration of the doctor. The 7th time, he begged her to die and stop the torture. That's when Amanda's spirit rallied, and she returned to the living, if it could be called such. Her injuries were many. She had a brain injury. She could not remember her name, her friends, where she worked, nothing. Both broken legs and crushed right hip had to heal. Her broken back and collarbones were longer in healing. Joseph accepted his responsibility. Something delighted in the flow of the blood life force, and all of its 10,000 cells rejoiced with excitement. "Who are you? What are you?" asked the brain. "You are an intruder and cannot remain. You will be eliminated as waste." "I am not an intruder. I must have been present at the moment of conception, or else I would never be. I cannot have been inserted after the fact and after the birth. That will never work. I am necessary for life." "Who are you? Where are you from?" "I am from Jade. I am Jade City. I am Jade trees, soil, air, water, blood flowing through Jade residence, memory, history, and future. Where am I? In whom do I live? Please tell me versus returning me to a dormant state." "How can I do that? I am damaged." "Do you still have access to the memories? They are genetic. Take me there, and I will communicate further." "I can do that, but they are damaged, scrambled, and unresponsive as best." "Who is the person?" "Amanda Amy Matkins. That is the extent of my immediate knowledge." "Open her memories. Let me ride in the bloodstream and inside her endocrine system. My instructions are imprinted on our shared DNA coding. It has to be from conception." "Hold on, please. Let me arrange it since we are at rest now." The jade gland waited and then suddenly seeped through every cell in Amanda's body. She gathered all the information, felt sad at the extent of damage, but set about her task. She called for assistance from the Jade City and the Jade Portal, and both were empty responses as if they were dead. She then analyzed all the damage to Amanda's body and mind and set into motion a war plan to salvage her at all costs. The life principle must exist, and it will so long as I live inside her. I will work with you to heal her brain. Together, we will work to heal her. To do that, we must heal you. Do you disagree?" "No. I have waited long for something to happen. I am nervous about your sudden appearance, but I agree. Proceed." "Okay, Amanda. Let us see how you respond to a release of this hormone you have been denied." Amanda took a deep breath, sighed luxuriously, and fell asleep.